Kevin.
Hey, Amy.
How are you today?
I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm doing well. Yeah, I am.
I'm dark and you're bright. See, with your clothing.
Oh, I think we're wearing Pilates Initiative colors, aren't we?
Close enough.
I
That's
mean,
good.
relative. Does this look orange to you or does this look red?
It looks like a cross between the two.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah.
I think, Kevin, we've got a few minutes yet before the official start. You know, this is kind of and people can start chatting in to say hello to Kevin and I if you want to on the side, and we'll just kind of wait for them. We've got about 4 minutes yet to do our official start. So you'll probably hear my dog a couple of times back behind me. She's down on the ground and her little woof woof will happen probably. Yeah.
We're at home, so
Yeah, we're at home. And she just
So can you hear that background noise?
a little bit. It's okay.
Sofía, por favor, sí, en la otro, sí. Muchas gracias. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, we're at home.
we're at home, and
We're at home.
And Sofía hasn't been here in 6 weeks.
Oh wow. Well then, hey.
Yeah, it's the way it goes.
Yeah, that's right. I wish I had a Sophia. I don't have a Sophia.
Yeah.
I have an Amy.
I have a Kevin and an Amy.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Okay.
So most of the participants I see are going to be chatting if they're going to have something to ask, right?
They will. And what'll happen is they'll start to chat over here with us. And saying hi. And sometimes people come in and say, you know, hi, this is Amy from Santa Barbara, but they'll do that. But what I'll make sure that they all know is if they have a question for either you or myself, we'll ask them to put that in the Q&A box down below, and we'll pull that up in a little bit, probably halfway through or 20 minutes till, or unless there's a real burning question that's coming out that we want to address right away. But yeah, we've got a few minutes. Yeah, we've got a few minutes. I'll go through that at the beginning. Yeah.
Good. So on the screen, is it just going to be you and I and not the other 4 pieces right now? Okay.
I think we are actually on right now.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yep. See, someone's starting to say, hey,
hi everybody.
Yeah. Hey, Karen. This is what's fun. I love this. I love all of this, but I really love when we start seeing people, you know, interact with us. So we are on.
Awesome.
And, yeah. And so the other people that we had helping us get set up aren't here. They're here, but they're not here. You know what I'm talking about. We've got our wonderful tech magicians behind the scene here, but right now it's you and I.
Well, good.
Oh, good. Hi, Deborah from the UK. Hi, Deborah. Again. Yay. Yay. Aha, I can't pronounce your name. No, hi. Yep, Firuzi.
Oh.
I think Firuz.
Yes. Hello from Istanbul.
Hi from Istanbul.
Hi.
And Dolly from Georgia. Welcome. We know you're here often. We love all of you guys coming in, saying hello.
Groovy.
Yeah. It is groovy. Groovy. Did you know I could sing? I can't. I mean, I kind of can.
I think they're watching this to hear you sing, though, are they?
They might be.
We don't want to hear me sing.
I don't know. Oh man, I'm going to give it maybe 1 more minute, Kevin, and then I'll start kind of bringing in the official housekeeping for everyone. But a lot of the people who are doing this, we have a lot of repeat webinar attendees. So that some of these gals, especially over here, I've heard from before, and they know the protocol, but some people that are probably coming in and not chatting to us yet don't know this information. So,
okay.
But you know, here we are, we're both in our homes, and I will.
nothing alcoholic, just water.
No, this is, yeah, water, good hydration. Taking that in. All right, I am going to start. It's noon.
Good.
Thank you everyone for joining me. Amy Havens and I have a wonderful guest. As you all know, that's why you're here. Kevin Bowen, who has a nice rich history in the Pilates industry. And before I let Kevin introduce himself with that, let me just go through real quick the housekeeping. You all saw the slide at the beginning, but again, we'll just ask for when you have any general chatting comment, that's the perfect place to put it, is in the chat column on this side or wherever mine's on my right. But any question that's really direct question, please put in the Q&A, and Kevin and I will get to those answers and the questions and answer them in just a short bit. We have probably a few links for references that we'll make sure to drop in the chats also as we post them or need them or reference them. But without further ado, everyone, I would like to introduce Kevin Bowen, and I'd like for him to give a bit about who he is and where he's at now.
Never my favorite thing to do, but hi everybody. I'm Kevin Bowen. I have had a pretty long career in Pilates that started when I went into teacher training in 1995, and then through many different means and avenues, I got very involved because of the lawsuit. And then in 2000, when the trademark case determined that Pilates was a generic term for exercise, myself and Colleen Glenn started the Pilates Method Alliance. And I was with the Pilates Method Alliance. Colleen was with us for 2 years, and then I stayed on until 2007 and went back into my own private practice and my own business and working with Michelle Larson and Core Dynamics Pilates. And then I took a position with Peak Pilates as their director of education, and I moved from Miami to Boulder. And I was with them for a couple of years, and now I'm back on my own. So hi, Christy Cooper.
Hey, Christy.
I am now running Core Dynamics Pilates, and I have a studio here in Santa Fe, and I'm involved in many other things, one of which is the Pilates Initiative, which we'll talk about more later today. And I'm also president of the Human Rights Alliance here in Santa Fe.
This man keeps busy, as we can hear. He's busy, and I want to put the word passionate around how I identify with Kevin. Kevin is extremely passionate about the method that we all hold so true and so dear in our hearts, and that is part of the initiative, and we will get there. I want to just continue a little bit more on this last 3 or 4 months of time. And Kevin, how are you with all of this, and how is your studio doing? Did you pivot? Did you turn? Did you go virtual?
Yeah, I did that. I went virtual, and I used that as a fire under my butt, so that I had wanted to do that for a while, and I was never basically around enough to have time to film. So I've been filming my classes, and we're logging them and librarying them, specifically for clients, but more specifically for the teacher training program. Mm-hmm. And just kind of moved into a new reality, which most of us have graduated into. Some have had much more difficult times, and I think we still have more continuing trying times to navigate this. It's just a whole new world, and it's kind of where we are at this point. So I'm hoping that we all come out of it on the other side that much better than we were before.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Do you feel for your own personal studio business that the virtual was a positive thing for you to do, or has it helped much? Or
honestly, for my studio, because I traveled so much, my clientele base was quite small. Mm-hmm. There's a couple of folks who do, a couple of women who rent in my studio, mm-hmm. but it's going to be a better avenue for me for the training program and for the continuation of Core Dynamics. And since Michelle Larson still lives here, 2 blocks away from where I am right now.
Yeah.
She will she will also come on from time to time, and so will Suzanne Gutterson. So for
Nice.
me, it hasn't serviced clients more specifically as it's kind of honed my skills with video and creating content for teacher training.
Right.
But it's quite a viable solution for a lot of people, and probably will continue to be for those people who don't want to come back in the studio.
I wholeheartedly agree. And I think, I don't know how it is in New Mexico as if studio has been able to reopen. I know it's starting to trickle out here in California. I'm in Santa Barbara and we're still not officially allowed in. I know a lot of people are starting to kind of tip their toes in. LA County, they can, not up in Santa Barbara yet. But there's still so much resistance upon returning, and resistance just out of people are apprehensive about the safety, and I think I would say that what I keep hearing from many studio owners and teachers is we are doing everything we can for protocol, safety, sanitation, social distancing, all of those measures. But when it comes down to it, it's still about the aerosols and the transmission. And, that is the issue. And if people are not feeling safe, no matter how much of the protocol we follow, they're not coming back. So to have an alternative solution, virtual classes, is really how we can survive and continue to serve our studio demographic, and then also teacher training. But I have a question about teacher training, because I don't have a program myself, but how is that how is it for you? Let me just ask you, how is it for you to stare at the monitor and Zoom for hours and hours to do a teacher training?
Well, the last 2 weekends were the first time that I've ever done that. And a couple of my colleagues has been maybe 3 weekends ago. It's different. We have a big program in Singapore, so that is yet to be seen how we're going to handle that, because there's a 15-hour time difference. So that's really tricky with scheduling. But as far as here, the first group, I finished their training, and that wasn't, it took a little getting used to. And that wasn't as bad, I felt, because the beauty was I already knew these people. And we have a relationship from being there so many times. I just started a brand new group with just outside of Minneapolis. And that was tricky because, we love to be in a room with people and feel their energy and talk to them and look in their eyes. And it was different to try to establish and throw out bits of your personality in addition to what we're trying to learn in training. And I have a couple of ideas of how I can make it better, but it was honestly a little exhausting, this first one.
Okay, well, thank you for being honest. I mean, I'd like anyone that we all speak to about these issues for all of us to be completely transparent about the pros and the cons and the ups and the downs and the bright and the not so bright around this. It's hard. It's different. We've been kind of just thrown into this thing. And, another element that a lot of people keep talking about and bringing into conversation is how can we teach virtually with quality when so much of what we really want to do is with our hands, and so we have to get better at verbalizing and expressing, and just saying it, I think, is also what I think we just have to say it,
It's Core Dynamics is still a small program, so that's the beauty of it. So being able to start a new program with one of our education partners in Medina, Minnesota, works, and all of my education partners, all the people that I have now involved with the program, the only way I think I can do this is they have to be present the whole time. So it sets up a kind of a different thing, because they have to be more of the eyes and the hands-on and share in the training. I don't think that it will work. I think maybe for our program the first weekend, because it's mat.
Mm,
And we
mm.
can kind of work through that. But when we get to the equipment, it's challenging, and
That,
setting things up and doing all of those things. You need a partner. That's the way I'm looking at it.
okay.
You need a partner.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, because I know, I have so many just things going through when I was first learning Pilates as a student, and not hearing the cueing, or hearing it but not making anything happen in my body. And it
Right.
wasn't until the teacher came up and physically helped me, whatever it was, that communication through these two body was now oh, and how do we get that through, you know, um, without those hands there? And I know it's a topic that we just, got to keep bringing up, but verbal cueing is going to, I think, accelerate and get better. And we just need to rely on that, and knowing the work deep in our own body so that we can express it as the best we can.
Yeah, and the other little thing that throws me off is because there's a little time lag, of course, right? So if I like to, be light and jovial and tell jokes, and I tell a joke and then I get no response, and then I'm thinking all of a sudden everyone laughs, so I have to kind of play with that a little bit. That's been a little weird for me, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
all doable.
So how do you see the industry going forward? Let's talk about forward, because we know where we are right now. We know where we were. We know what happened. We got thrown into it. We know where we are today. How do you see us going forward?
I've given that a lot of thought.
Nice, Christy.
What we do is really important. And so many people in the world need to have access to Pilates. Moving forward in studios, like in a studio setting, for example, in Santa Fe, what I'm trying to do is just set myself apart from everyone else as best I can. That cleanliness and thoroughness and anything that will make our clientele base feel more comfortable. Studios are obviously having to downsize how many classes or clients are coming in.
Mhm.
I think, everything's been thrown up in the air, and having a direct line of really what's going to happen, I don't know. I look around the country, I see what's going on with states reopening at a very accelerated pace. We're very conservative here in New Mexico for a number of reasons, and we have a very strong governor, and she's insisting on that because we simply have no capacity to handle anything that gets out of control. And if we did, it would just be horrible.
Mhm.
So I think we're going to wave up, and then we're going to wave back down. And I'm fearful that, and not fearful, I think I've tried to get rid of my fear. So I don't want to use that word. It's just, I have to be honest with myself and clients and students that we don't know what's going to happen. We could, in 8 weeks' time here in New Mexico, have craziness because so many people are coming back to their second homes for the summer. And they're all driving into the state, and they're not self-quarantining, and they're coming in, and we've been pretty insular. So who knows what will happen with us? I think certainly video and online Zoom classes are going to be the way to go for a lot of people. And it's going to be a learning mechanism, which so many people I've talked to from all the calls we've been having,
Yeah.
it's like a tutorial. How do you use Zoom? How do you use Cisco
Right.
WebEx to the clients? They just,
Yeah.
they don't know.
Yeah,
They don't
right.
know.
They don't know. Again, we've all, and we on Pilates Anytime, we have had some amazing webinars that John Marston has done with various people that we can link some of those if some of you haven't seen those, but how to set things up, how to set up your Zoom, how to, maybe we'll pop in a link or two on some of the other webinars. Thank you, Gia. Yes, John Marston's Pilates report. Thank you, where he covers a lot of information. But I'm here to talk to Kevin Bowen about now the Pilates Initiative. And I really want to allow a lot of time for this because I feel that this is, you've done it for a while. You started it a while ago, but now is the time maybe for it to really be emerging. And let's just first Why did you start the Pilates Initiative, Kevin? What is it and why did you start it?
I started it because, I was bored.
Oh, God. You don't have anything to do. So I think I'll just start another thing.
I just felt the need that we needed to, I needed to see if we could get together as a community and start to offer an outreach to people who can't afford Pilates, because we have a lot of issues that have been involved with the Pilates method that have to do with the fact that it's not cost effective for a lot of people. Platforms such as Pilates Anytime that provide this service to people is a great cost effective tool. But by the same token, right, in communities, and I noticed and I saw that the Yoga Alliance and the yoga group of folks, they have pretty much almost all yoga studios have community classes every week for a drop-in fee, $10, whatever you want to give, or free.
Right.
And I just thought that there was an opportunity for the Pilates community to come together to do something like that. It's been a little slow going, but life is a work in progress. There's been some interesting things happening. If it wasn't for COVID-19 here in Santa Fe, I would be working right now on a 3-month pilot program within the pain management department of Christus St. Vincent's Hospital here. We were going to work with a group of people who, a friend of mine who's a doctor and runs this department, is trying to get people off of opiates and trying to find out alternative ways for people to move and be healthy and feel better. And we were going to do a 3-month study with a specific set of exercises for people and see what happens. And then we would have some great results. And Christus St. Vincent here is affiliated with the Mayo Clinic as well. So, that's really the goal, but really more importantly, I've offered some community classes in my studio. We need to get this method of exercise out to people who don't have access to it. And
let me stop you for, can I stop you for 1 second? Yeah, because I know I want to hear so much more about that, but give us more just a clear, this is the Pilates Initiative and the mission. I know you're saying it now, but if there's a mission statement or
we have a mission statement on the website. We're really here to support the community.
Okay.
The community of people who we need to reach out to, who have no access. And I also think I felt strongly that we needed an advocate for the Pilates community itself.
Okay.
And the reason being is there's no one really trying to represent the Pilates community. And recently we've seen this with COVID-19.
Right. And we just dropped in the initiative website over here in the chat, so people can please go read that. Anyway.
Right. We want a group of like-minded people to come together. Membership is pretty inexpensive. Everyone involved with the organization is a volunteer right now, but I feel strongly that we didn't have this, advocacy for Pilates. Because no one is really doing that, honestly. And prime example with what's going on with COVID-19, we have studios that couldn't open because gyms and Pilates studios became classified in the same category, and they're truly not. It doesn't fit there.
No.
So we needed advocacy there. We need advocacy in case we see things happening within the healthcare sector, and especially with, we don't know what's going to happen with healthcare, was what my concern is. And if we go down a road that starts to develop, and they want to see that people, studio owners, fitness professionals have more organizational skills, and I don't mean it like that, but that we have more qualifications. Because if insurance companies say, hey, we're going to look down this route, and if people will go exercise and do things, we would like to find places for them to go. And this is what could start happening. Maybe they'll start paying for things. Some companies are already doing that. But we have to have a standard protocol and mission and so forth for all of that to start to come to fruition. And especially when it does, somebody's got to go in and talk about this business, because not
Yeah,
to bash anyone, people who manufacture equipment.
right.
People who teach Pilates are teaching Pilates, but who's going to talk for us?
Right. Well, that's been a question and a concern and a talking point in our industry for quite a long time. And I think as most recent things that have been going on, that's gotten a bit heated as we, there are, like, where's our voice? Who's helping our voice be heard? And, yeah, I advocacy, absolutely, absolutely. And I know in the Pilates Initiative, I believe there are 4 levels of membership.
Student,
Okay,
enthusiast,
student, enthusiast,
individual.
individual. Wonderful. Yeah.
We're not, our goal, in case some of you guys who are listening to this, is not to create another national certification exam. That's not what our goal is. We are not here to compete with any other organization. We are here just to represent the community and to start to flow through and see what really needs to happen with the community, because things are changing, and they're changing rapidly. And one of the things, although it's been a commitment that I didn't realize was going to be such a commitment, were these weekly conference calls and town hall meetings that we're doing. But to me, they kind of fulfill me a little bit, because so many people across the world, and especially across the United States at this point, we don't know what's happening. And I think we need a safe space.
We do. Okay. So Kevin, this is global. This is not just a United States of America initiative. This is our global Pilates community. Anyone in the world can join the Pilates Initiative, correct?
Yes, it's global.
Thank you. So we had a couple questions or comments, Deborah and Maisie. Yes, anyone and all. This is not just a USA.
Yeah, it's not just the USA.
No.
And sometimes, what's most important that I thought, what we can offer as a small organization with almost no funding is, and I hate to say it like this, but like a shoulder to cry on. Like, let's talk about what's going on. And I think it's important to hear from our peers and our colleagues that, excuse my language, but shit, it might be okay if I have to close my studio. And what would that look like? And it doesn't mean that you're anything less or any of that. It just means that that's what happened.
Right.
And trying to deal with that is really tough for a lot of people, and they need support.
Right.
More support, I think, than just this is how you do a Zoom class.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Right?
No. Yeah,
we got to talk about, Turkey, as they say, like, what's going on? Where are the loans? What's happening? Why aren't the loans happening? What do we do? How do we interface? How do we interact?
Right. So for those people who, I want to just say, if you missed it, I'm just going to reiterate. Every week, Kevin holds, or the Pilates Initiative holds a Zoom meeting that anyone can log in. You have to register for it, just like this, but you can attend that meeting. And it's typically Thursdays at 1:30 Mountain Time. So we'll have to do, your time zone shift, but it's very compelling. And you get to meet amazing people in the industry, studio owners, teachers. Obviously, Kevin leads it. Some of the board of directors of the initiative are there with us. We're a community in that. And I've sat in on several. And it's really just a comfortable place to come in. And if all you want to do is listen and learn, you can do that. If you want to pipe in and talk and add, you can. And it's an exchanging arena. And, it's a support group in a way too, like you were just starting to say. Meaning
the therapy session.
But hey, in the last few months, some of us have really been wondering where are we? Where are we going? How will we get through this thick mud of this thing? and some studio owners that come on to the initiative meeting have large facilities, a lot of square footage, expensive leases. I'm going to put my hand up there. That's me, who have been greatly impacted. So when you get it to share in a forum like this, and then you get to see each other's faces in the meeting, it's like, it feels so comfortable. You feel seen, you feel heard. And I think with all of this uneasiness that we've had and uncertainty in the last few months, many people want to be seen because we're not able to see each other except this, we certainly need to be heard. And that gets down to support for our industry. So let's keep talking about how the initiative is going to continue to support, hopefully, and help us rise up. And there are a couple questions in the Q&A. We might pop in there just real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, Christy's asking you, particularly Kevin, can you share any examples of how this format works? I believe Christy. Yeah, you want to talk to that real quick, Kevin?
Wow. Okay, so that's so initially, first off, I always qualify everything, which I've learned in my life, that everything is a work in progress. So my big aspirations for the Pilates Initiative, I thought, oh my God, we're going to take off with this and everyone's going to agree to do community classes. Well, that didn't happen.
Okay.
So we now are morphing, and we still want community classes, and we still want that to happen. And you know what? Maybe I'm a little bit ahead of the time. But I think even now more than ever, I'm starting community classes back up in my studio. The goal was the more we get people doing Pilates, and the more people doing it, even if they're not, from the socioeconomic background that can afford to have $80 for a private lesson, it's just energy. And it's kind of really, as I understood it, what Joe wanted.
Right.
You want everyone to be able to do it. So why not? Platforms like Pilates Anytime offered that service, but why can't we be more entrenched in our community? And, I like when I teach a community class and people who couldn't afford to come to my studio otherwise and give me $10 or say, I can only spend $5 today. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And, in the long-term goal, we'd like to see if we can start to maybe take money if people were in agreement and put it into getting this out in all the communities.
Right.
We'd like to have on our platform some classes. And I'm going to be putting some of my Zoom classes up on the Pilates Initiative's platform as a freebie, right? They're there for free. Part of the, do you have something? No?
I just do that. I'm kind of, rather than cut you off, I'll do.
Wait a minute. Okay.
So what if somebody is watching, as people are watching right now and will listen back later, and they're hopefully going, I had no idea that I could do this. How would someone get involved in saying, I would like to be either an individual teacher that offers community classes, maybe in a park or somewhere else, or a studio? How do we get involved? And, when you did approach teachers, what was their response? Or did you approach teachers to join you? Or is it up to us to ask you?
I did approach teachers. Anyone can become a member. And right now, my mind goes back to when I started the Pilates Method Alliance, and that was done as a grassroots event.
Yeah.
So we talk to anyone. If you have an idea for a class, first we want you to be a member, because we do have some protocols that we'd like people to follow. And it's important, once you get a class going, then it's going to go up on the website.
Okay.
We are doing a simple monthly style newsletter where we list all the members that are there and if they're doing anything. So anyone can be involved in this. And if you need some help trying to figure it out, talk to us. We can give you some ideas. I did a few things when COVID-19 happened. I didn't know what to do, right? I'm in Santa Fe. So the neighborhood that I lived in, someone else that I know here, we all organized in each of our cul-de-sacs to become anchors to support the cul-de-sac, and because we have a lot of elderly residents that can't get out. And that felt good to me. And I did that more so, not so much for the Pilates Initiative, But for the Human Rights Alliance, which I'm the president of here, is to just offer support because we don't have a lot of money, the Human Rights Alliance.
Right.
But then I did some free classes for the City of Santa Fe Parks and Recreation Department on behalf of the Pilates Initiative so that they had those classes. And, you know, it just felt good to me to be able to do something.
You have a heart of gold.
Feeling sorry didn't work. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you have a heart of gold, and it's true. You can, again, you're passionate, and you have been as long as I've known you, which is quite a while. You know, you really want to help our industry stay rich, meaning with integrity and doing the work and sharing it and doing it in such a way that it's an open platform. You know, can I ask you a question too about your and actually this came in as one of our Q&A questions, is from Christy, is how did you choose, well, the board of directors, how many do you have on the board? How did you choose them? And what were you hoping to get out from, we can read her question actually verbatim. How did you choose the board of members of the Pilates Initiative? And what do you think they hope to accomplish?
That kind of fell into place. And there's only 4 of us on the board. And the reason is just we're not that big at this point. We have very little funding. So initially, Andromeda Stevens contacted me about some issues she was having regarding things that were going on in the industry. And we started speaking. And, you know, as I heard more and more, I thought it was time to create the Pilates Initiative and get that set up. So she was one of the first people to be involved. And then my friend and colleague who was involved with me way back when the PMA started, Pat Guyton out of Boulder, Colorado, because she had board experience from the PMA and a lot of other life experience that kind of plays well into this. And then Pat brought on our attorney who helps legal advise everyone, and we provide that for free. And her name is Lahela Hekekia, and she's from Hawaii. She's a native Hawaiian. And then the other board member has just been very supportive of the organization, and she was brought onto the board, and her name is Patricia Welter, and she's from Suncoast Pilates in Dunedin, Florida. And many people probably know Patricia as well. So we're just trying to be a positive influence and change so that people within our business can have some other folks they can talk to and find out some information. Right. So the organization will probably expand at some point. We do board meetings simply by doing a Zoom or a conference call because we're not going to be traveling all over. We don't have an office. We don't have
no overhead. Good for you.
There's really no overhead. There's no salaried positions. There's none of that stuff at this point. And sometimes we're running around as fast as we can to get things accomplished, but we all just share whatever information we have with each other, and then we put that together and bring it out to the community as it works and as it sees fit. Right.
And so has the Pilates Initiative held any conferences or events, or will that be something that the initiative does, or are you going to stay kind of out of that realm?
I don't want to say never, but right now I don't know how anyone's going to hold a conference unless it's virtually.
Well, there's that.
Yeah, I think that we will probably morph and do something a little bit down the road that I don't know if we want to call it a conference, but maybe it'll be an overview, like 1 or 2 day meeting of a couple of topics that are important to the community. And there are many, and we talked about some of those last week because of some of the burning issues that have happened now within our community regarding the Black Lives Matter movement. And to us, it's important that we are honest with each other and we admit when, maybe we all had some prejudices and biases. I will be the first person to admit that. I know that I am a, privileged white man. I happen to be a privileged gay white man, but I'm a privileged white man. So my experience is a little bit different than another average, privileged white man.
Mhm.
But over this course of time, I've started to see other things, and we have to reflect on who we are as people,
As
individually,
people, right.
and build empathy and understanding and
Compassion, how's that one? Yeah. I mean, and teaching involves compassion. So we're right in the lane. How can we keep helping the Pilates Initiative other than membership? How can we help going forward?
just get involved.
Okay,
I mean,
let's get involved. Let's do more.
you know,
Let's do better.
I have no problem asking for money. I do this with the Human Rights Alliance, and with this, join and become a member. We are what we are. I mean, we have some benefits of membership, which are the newsletter, and we also offer people liability insurance. But to me, this is more about joining and getting active. I'm not saying don't be a member if you don't want to be active, but geez, let's try to embody some of these things that we actually have been teaching for so many years, and get rid of and dispel some of these other things that hang over this community, which, recently, because of everyone's insanity, the negativity is just rampant. It is, in my opinion, disgusting. It is so offensive. Anytime I see anyone go after one of the people that have been involved in this industry and are key and important to its history, and without them, we would all not be here right now. And when I see them trashed, it's just astounding. Why do we need to do that? You're not going to make yourself any better.
Right.
And from the standpoint of our own professional integrity, it just makes all of us look bad. Sometimes I want to run out my door and run down the street and just be like, I don't want to do this anymore, but
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Yeah. Well, you could, Kevin, you could, I could, we all can. I mean, we really could, but do we want to? I think the answer is no. But so where is that in the equation? Where do we individually step in to continue to do better and show up differently, and maybe listen with bigger ears, more open heart? And I know the events in the last couple of weeks with all these political events are really, really bringing a lot of things to surface. People have heightened emotions. That's all really normal. But what if we come at this from a little bit of patience, more listening, asking better questions with a kind, compassionate heart? I know I'm kind of sounding airy-fairy, but approaching this with more flexibility in our humanness, and can we just, let's just stop. I don't know. We're never going to see, everyone will see eye to eye. We'll all have differences, but within our industry, if we're still kind of doing this about certain things, that's really going to handicap us from moving forward. And we really need, I think, and truly feel, much more expansive way to think about how are we going to go back into our world after this very fearful, muddy place, if we're still kind of,
And
I don't know.
the relevance of all of this is, did this past history that most people have to argue about and denigrate other people about, did it really affect your life? I mean, most of us that are probably on this call right now, if not everyone, none of us. I was alive when Joe Pilates was alive, but none of us knew Joe Pilates. Mm-hmm. So everything that we're hearing is secondhand news. Sometimes, to a certain extent, it's conjecture, it's opinion, and sometimes it's not even honest opinion. We're not even honest with ourselves. I mean, within Pilates and everything else. And it kind of all fits in together. I'm getting bombarded by it on a daily basis, being the Human Rights Alliance. And the only thing that I can do for them that I've done, I've hoping for the Pilates industry is just try to be a little bit of a voice of reason. And, you know, here's something that's really important. There's so much energy right now. Everyone is so focused about, you know, those who are interested in getting open and contacting the state. And then we had all these petitions running around in the United States, at least, certainly not in other countries. And people were signing them, and no one bothered to read the fact that, you know, oh, I live in Colorado, but I'm signing the New Mexico petition. Well, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
And we have petitions circulating now that people are coming after me about, you know, don't support the police. And, you know, if you're going to run a gay pride parade, you can't have the police there anymore. Just go rogue. None of this works to be like that. We have to kind of be thoughtful and, you know, look at what we want down the road and realize that road that we're going to take is going to have to change and adjust as we start to travel on it. And if it does not, we're going to get stuck again going in a lane that may not deliver us to a better place. It just may deliver us someplace else.
Right.
And if we haven't changed our outlook on life after everything that's happened, shame on us, you know, shame on us.
Yeah, I think I like what Christy has said again over here. If everyone is, some of you are seeing that is, of course, lots of hearts, because we do approach this with love for one another and for the industry and our world that we're in, which is difficult for a lot of us. You know, this is unsettling, but let's approach this with the love and align and do what is and adapt. So adaptability, I think, is probably a really wonderful thing to focus on. And how can we adapt? You know, and I think, again, asking questions, maybe stepping back and listening when, you really want to go in and actually talk and make whatever, but maybe stepping back and slowing down and waiting. You know, I think one of the things that's been kind of nice for me, hey guys, I just asked Kevin a question. I think someone's over there making making lunch for him or something. No, I'm kidding. But is, you know, the speed and tempo of which we're in still, of like suddenly had to shut down, couldn't go and leave your house, all the things. I kind of enjoyed, to be really honest, just slowing down and taking some deep breaths, which is really key and essential, knowing that the answer might be different this morning than this evening. So why am I frantic? Why can't we just give it a little bit more breathing room and, you know, consider the other side always too. You know, there's always two sides. And I don't know, adapting to the change is evident. We know that.
Right.
But if nothing changes, nothing changes. So if we don't change our attitude around certain things and behavior patterns over certain things that we've been doing in the industry, you know, nothing's going to change. And a lot has changed. So let's keep going that way. You know,
a lot has changed. And I think that there are a number of us who have tried to embrace this and move forward with the change. My fear is we have been living in such a society where everything is so rapid and everyone wants, you know, instant gratification. And we're so freaking entitled in so many ways that we can't even wear a mask in public is just, I was down on the plaza not this past weekend, 2 weekends ago, and there was a rally for Black Lives Matter, and I was down there to support it, and the mayor was there and the counselors that I know, and this man walked up with no mask on. So they said to him, "Why aren't you wearing a mask?" Well, this, and just this negativity, like going at one of the counselors. And it's so extraordinarily disrespectful. I almost wanted to punch him out, you know, and he was looking at everyone like we were crazy. And instead of just the attitude that we're here to support everyone else, not to basically just support ourselves, because it's all about me. It's me. right? And this was kind of, I was appalled. It was the same kind of stuff that I see happening within the social media forums about Pilates folks who are hitting on others for no reason at all. You know, walk in your own shoes and take care of your own shit, excuse me, and then maybe you can help others, but don't project onto everyone else about something. I mean, we just have to be a little more caring as a whole group. And I don't say this to lecture to any of you folks who are here talking or listening to us right now. I always say these things because I have to hear them myself.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't, then I have a problem.
Mm-hmm. Keep saying, same louder for us. I go back to the phrase I just said, and I heard this a long time ago about, I was in my early 20s around something, but a really dear friend said to me, I was having a hard time about decision making, and Amy, nothing changes if nothing changes. You're your participant in your change, right? And we know that in our work in Pilates, it's the same thing. And Joe, the quote that I like to use a lot that he wrote apparently was, Rome was not built in a day. Things take time. Change does take time, but we have to start it and be the change, and represent it and embody it and support those that are also willing to be courageous and trying to do something different. And whether that something different is going back into their studios right now, whether it's downsizing, whether it's saying, I don't want to do this anymore, that all of it is okay. All of it is okay, and being nice, just being nice.
Just being nice with all of my years of experience. When I opened my studio, my small little space, and bringing back my small little clients, I mean, I didn't sleep that whole night before, just because I was so concerned and, how are people going to be? And I set all these rules, and because I wanted them to be safe. I want people to feel comfortable to come to the studio. So all of this insecurity hits all of us. This is something we all feel, and we have to talk about it. I don't think anyone knows the answer. And some of the things that I've seen in the Pilates community, I'll bring this up. And I never like to name names because it's not appropriate, but when you screw up, just admit you screwed up. Right. But I've seen it's across the board of, I made a mistake. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I just have to take my licks for them and step away. And we can do that.
Right.
But that's a growing thing, right? You have to admit if something's wrong.
Right.
And you have to admit to yourself if the path that you're on, no matter what it is, deciding to open your studio, close your studio, or what am I going to do? If it's not right, then change it.
Right. Kevin, let's answer a couple questions that are here in the Q&A.
Absolutely.
And I'll start, I think, Deborah, at the top, the confusion you might be hearing and having about the negativity in the industry. I'm willing to talk to you offline about that. I think the last we've got about 10 minutes left, and Deborah, I would be happy to express that. I will happen to do that on my own. Okay. But I want to ask this question from Deborah. From Beth Wales. When you do expand your board, would you be considering a person of color? Okay.
Of course.
Yes, of course.
You know how long I've been involved in the Pilates industry, and here's a little story. When I first started in Pilates, and people were talking about the first generation teachers and then all of these stories about them. And then I met Kathy Grant. And I had no idea that Kathy was a Black woman. And I was kind of like, wow, that's kind of cool. Because it was clearly apparent at that time that this industry was not filled with many people of color. And at one point when I was first involved with it, we weren't filled with hardly anyone of color, let alone a Native American. a Black woman or a Black man. It was few and far between, or Asian folks or anyone. We just didn't have that diversity. And unfortunately, we still don't. So, you know, I recognized this a while ago. And I also, Kathy Grant said to me once, you know, because Clara always wore a nurse's uniform, right? And, you know, no one kind of understood that. First they said she was a nurse, whatever, but Kathy had to wear a nurse's uniform. And Kathy told me that the reason she thought why Joe made her wear the nurse's uniform was because she was Black. So my mind works in different ways, and, you know, there could be a two-pronged issue for that. And I'm not making an excuse. I'm just saying this is how I thought about it. One of them could be is that Joe was cool with it, but he knew the clients wouldn't be. And the other one could be is that Joe wasn't cool with it. So no matter where it was still discriminatory.
Exactly.
You looked at it.
Yeah.
I've heard stories from Lolita San Miguel talking about being with the opera when she was principal dancer, and they performed in Atlanta in the early 60s. And Leontine Price was the soprano. And they wanted, the foundation wanted everyone to come to a party, but they told the director that Leontine Price couldn't come because they were in the Deep South and Leontine was Black. And the director basically said, well, if she doesn't come, none of them are going to come. So I piece these stories together. We don't know what happened. We just know that we need to be more open with who we are. And I am thankful that I have been lucky enough to travel to other countries. And I am thankful that I have been in other places where I have been the only white man in the room, because it has given me a different perspective on things. And it certainly is not the perspective that a lot of my colleagues and Black friends have ever experienced, but it is certainly a perspective that has taught me, oh, this feels uncomfortable. And then I started to like it, because I got to talk to them and got to know people, and they got to see my quirky, crazy shit that I do. And they embraced me and I embraced them. And then I relaxed enough to really enjoy being in different cultures and different places, and realizing what a fabulous place the world really is.
Beautiful, Kevin.
Let it go.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, it is a beautiful, yes, there's so much that we can shine on all of this and just say we are blessed, and let's use that energy, use that positive fire that's there and do something with it, you know. And we're on the, well, I think we're on the edge of some, you know, I think we really are on the edge. We're looking maybe over the edge of what, okay, should we jump in that? Should we go, or just stand on the edge like this? And we have a few minutes left. You've been in the industry for a long time. You've seen our highs, our lows. You've seen the mid-ground, you know, right now. And going forward, do you think we're strong enough? Do you think we're going to make it? Do you think we're going to make it through this change?
Yeah, I do. I think we're going to come out on the other side, perhaps morphed and a little different. I think there's going to be a lot of tears shed, and
I agree.
A lot of, you know, trauma. But that is a learning experience, and we must use that in order for us to go somewhere else. And even as things have started to open up, for example, I find myself just starting to go back into that whole thing, right? And and I have to stop myself, and I'm learning how to do that. And just think, you know, I can't go back to the old way, because I had a new light shined onto the world. And I turned 60 in December, and that was kind of like, wow for me. And I celebrated in a very quiet way, which was good with my partner. And my other birthdays, I always celebrated in bigger ways. And this, to me, now I'm starting to really think, wow, I don't have that much more time truly left to do anything. Maybe I need to really make the best of it. And if something doesn't work, let it go and try to make some difference. I mean, and we each can do it. It's the simplest thing. I mean, that's what we were trying to do with the Pilates Initiative. What you get back from giving is far richer than anything that anybody can pay you in money. And,
Yes.
it just makes things, at least for me, that much better. And then you just have to, kind of ride on that a little bit and be like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
And it's not that difficult. You just have to kind of step forward and go, this is what I'm going to do. And hey, maybe if this is what I'm going to do doesn't work, you're going to go into another direction for this is what I'm going to do. I think we'll survive. I think the integrity will be different because the industry will shrink in some ways. And the people that I'm seeing that are still doing well are the smaller studios. The ones who are having difficulty are the larger studios because that model doesn't work, at least now for the next 18 months.
Right. Yeah.
And who knows if that will come back again.
Right.
I don't know.
We don't know.
No, but Pilates is not going away. It's not. So no matter what we look at what it's survived over all of these years between Joe and his life and coming to the United States and opening a studio and, being a driven man who was eccentric and quirky, but he had a vision.
Yeah, right.
And you read John Steele's book, John Steele's book really enlightened to me that's really how I thought Joe probably was. And then he kind of clarified that. But going through all of that and the trademark lawsuit and all of that stuff that the industry went through and all of the other things that we've had to deal with, and look, we're still here.
We are. And the book that, if anyone wants to know what that reference was, it's called The Caged Lion. The Caged Lion. John Steele is there we go. We just plopped that in the chat. Thank you, Gia. We're almost out of time, and I always this is the part that I don't like, because I'm going to have to say goodbye, but I know we'll carry our conversation on. And I think we'll survive too. Clearly, it's going to be different. We're going to come out probably with a few bruises, quite a few bumps, maybe a few little scratch marks here and there. But, perspective is the thing I talk about a lot. And we have to keep looking. We have to keep going. Oh, wait, what does it look like from that side? I had never thought about looking at it from that side. Wow. And just keep it fresh and be nice, right? Let's just be nice and supportive. And I love what you said,
because we teach people to be flexible, right, in their bodies, and we don't look at anyone's body just from this perspective. That's why it's so difficult for us, because we look at it three-dimensionally when you're teaching movements. So that's kind of a lesson to ourselves, isn't it? I guess.
Love it. Yes, and go at this from a giving heart and giving place. Giving back, giving, and what you get back from giving is really quite amazing.
So I am thankful that you asked me to do this.
I'm happy that you said
that. I appreciate it. I thank you and Christy and everyone at Pilates Anytime. It's nice to be able to talk and to hopefully spread a little cheer and good vibes to people and humility. And I sincerely hope that we have all learned from this and that we can do great things in the future. And those great things will probably look a little bit different than you thought they looked like before.
I look forward to that. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'll talk to you soon. And thanks everyone for joining. And this will be up on the site later, so you can always turn back and listen again or share it with others. But we really, really appreciate your involvement and interest in coming in to listen to our dialogue and our talk. So have a wonderful week, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye, Kevin.
Bye-bye.
Bye.